So Anthropic and ChatGPT both dropped their usage reports. These are reports that they drop every year that talks fundamentally about how people are using their platforms. And you can see here how they look like. This is for you to be aware of them if you want to look them up and read them yourself. But if you don't want to read them, don't worry, I will make your life much easier. And today I will take you through 10 things I genuinely believe everyone should be aware of based on these reports. And if you stick till the end, I will tell you 3 things or actions you can do with this information. And with this and without any further ado, let's get started.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel. The mic.
The first thing that came out of these both reports by Anthropic and OpenAI is the speed of adoption. It is something that you expect, but again, when you read the numbers, when you read the stats by these AI research labs, it is astonishing to see the amount of adoption and the pace of adoption that is going on globally. To put this into perspective, ChatGPT by July 2025 had 700 million active users, and those users are sending 2.5 billion with a B messages a day. That's around 30,000 messages per second. So by the time you finish this video, already ChatGPT received millions, tens of millions of messages. For the second fact, Anthropic stressed that this adoption is also unique in the workplace. So in their data compared to last year, 40% of US employees today are using AI for work compared to only 20% last year. So that's doubling in a single year, which is a huge adoption, especially in the workspace. The interesting thing here, and this is clear in the ChatGPT report, is that people are actually using AI mostly for non-work related things. So the non-work related usage of ChatGPT increased from 53% of last year to 73% this year. And that means that ChatGPT or AI in general is becoming some kind of a home utility. And that's interesting because it shows you how deeply AI is already integrating in people's lives. So at least this is the way I read this when I see people are actually using it much more for non-work related tasks. The third interesting fact is that people are using AI for 3 main things. Either they're asking for guidance, so how do I perform this thing or how do I implement that thing, and information, so people are using it as their search engine fundamentally, and lastly it's writing. People are using AI to write more. Now by the way, that 80% of usage into these 3 domains also applies to work. In work, writing is 40%. So 40% of what people send in these domains to AI is write me something. And 2/3 of that, it's mostly people, and I think makes sense for most people watching this, is that people are asking AI, edit this email for me. So they create a draft, they give it to the AI and say, make it better, improve it, maybe shorten it, or asking actually AI to critique an email. So people might take an email, I presume they wrote or someone else wrote, and they give it to AI and they ask AI to critique it. And lastly, translation. I think this is one of the areas that is heavily disrupted by AI. Also, beyond these 3 domains of using AI, there was a 4th that is noticeable, which is using AI for multimedia, basically to create images. And we've all seen when OpenAI dropped their new image model, and later on when Google dropped their Nano Banana image model, and that affected work as well. So that's definitely kind of an unofficial 4th domain of where AI is being used today. For the 4th piece of information, they broke down the way people interact with AI in terms of intent. So they say there's 3 areas of intent where people engage with AI. One is asking, and basically it's people asking AI to provide some kind of information. 2 is doing, and that's when people ask artificial intelligence to do something for them, like write me an email, write me a piece of code, create a document that does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And lastly, it is expression. The way I understood expression, it's actually anything that is not asking or doing, and it's things that are linked to emotion. So someone basically talking about non-practical or non-technical or non-educational or work-related things to ChatGPT or any other AI model. And the capture trends is that 49% of people use AI for asking, 40% use it for doing, and only 11% use it for expressing. Now, the interesting thing is, as those percentages I just covered for asking, doing, and expressing, actually asking grew in the last year by 50%, while doing dropped by nearly 35%. And as you would guess, when it comes to the work environment, people using AI in work, actually doing is the one that dominates. So it's around 56% of how people use AI for work. That makes sense because, as we discussed earlier, most of the use in work is people asking for AI to write me something, do for me something, critique for me something. The fifth fact that caught my eye is very interesting, and it's very stressed highly in the Anthropic report. Now, the report suggests that the biggest usage of people in the corporate setting or work setting is that employees are asking AI for information, asking it to interpret things, and then asking it to go through documents and summarize things. Now, one paradigm shift, at least I got in my mind reading those reports, that if I was a decision maker in an organization, in a company, I would make a decision today to encourage people to use artificial intelligence. But I would also create programs to reskill them towards that. And the way I would do it, I would educate people around how to use it for these, in my opinion, minute things. Write an email, summarize a document, how to prompt them, how to do them, that's good. What I would do differently is I would create programs that would focus on the usage of those employees of AI towards improving their decision quality. So you can use artificial intelligence for ideation. You can do scenario analysis. You can actually ask it to critique certain aspects. But here you are using your critical thinking, and just you're using that kind of artificial intelligence tool that you have now to improve it, enhance it, actually to amplify the power of your brain through using that tool. At least this is my opinion. For me, that was something very vivid and clear, and they hint to it in these reports. And it's something I think organizations should start doing. Encourage people to use AI, but tell them how to use it right. Fact number 6. So if you go to X, and at least if I show you my X, you're gonna find threads and threads and people talking about Claude Code, Codex, AI papers around software development. Well, the reality is that computer programming was only 4% of usage. It is a dominant area, I can tell you that, but still it's not the biggest usage when it comes to artificial intelligence. Actually, people use it in so many other domains much more compared to the percentage of usage in computer programming. On the flip side, coding or computer programming actually dominated the API usage of these platforms. Fact number 7, which is super interesting, and this is more on the Claude side that they've noticed, people when they start using AI, they start using it to automate. And here the word automate means, for at least in the report of Anthropic, is that people try to delegate work to AI. Write this for me, do this for me, create this for me. And as people learn more while they or experience AI more, they start transitioning into augmenting with AI. And basically, people are using more AI to think, to get ideas, to learn, and then to do the same things on their own or in an augmented fashion. So there is a behavioral shift that Anthropic notices when people start using the technology and after some time using that technology. Fact number 8 is adoption across countries was very interesting part of Anthropic's report here specifically. And the same was also shown in the ChatGPT report. So the better the GDP per capita of a country, the more adoption is there. But at the same time, the lower GDP countries are showing higher growth rates than richer countries fundamentally. So the thing that I got out of this, we are still globally running the risk where there will be a kind of a gap and a difference and an unfair advantage between richer countries and poorer countries. But on a flip and positive side, at least ChatGPT sees that growth in these communities is much faster. Fact number 9, which is interesting, I actually recommend that you go and see it yourself. Basically, this one in ChatGPT, this is from ChatGPT, it says people with a higher education use AI more. So I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but basically they look at three categories: people with less than a bachelor's degree, people with a bachelor's degree, and people with higher education, higher than a bachelor's degree. And the more you are educated, the more you tend to use artificial intelligence. And even they give occupation-specific information as well in that section, which is super interesting. And as you would expect, the top usage in terms of occupation in artificial intelligence is computer, business and management, and then engineering. And what makes this super interesting is when you layer it with the fact that most of the usage of these occupations that are ranking on top of people who, or occupations that use AI, are still people using AI for decision making and problem solving across computer, engineering, and management. So that means there is a set of skills or common areas of skills. I think we can call them augmented skills, the skills of the AI era that people can develop that, in my opinion, transcend above the occupation specifics that we deal with. So someone who's good in using AI for creating program code will be good in using AI to create a management plan, a business plan, or even a marketing plan. So I think also this is one area corporates should be looking, because always corporates want to see how they can kind of repurpose skill, because you would want sometimes to get a good engineering guy to maybe try out selling your product because they understand the product really well. So this technology could actually create that bridge. Fact number 10 is we are still dealing with an evolving technology. So these models have their own limitation. The papers hint to a certain extent of these challenges. The Anthropic paper actually hints to the bottleneck of context, providing these models for context so it can provide high quality responses. So we have to remember that we are dealing with a technology that has limitations, that can hallucinate as we actually embark and adopt this technology more and more, which is clearly is showing in these reports that we are actually getting it more into our work and personal lives every day. I will end it with 3 things I think you can do with this information. Number 1, if you are just the general user of artificial intelligence, you use it a little bit for your work, use it a little bit for your personal life, use it differently. Clearly, the trend is that people are going towards the right usage of AI. But I would recommend, based on looking at this, is use it to improve and augment your thoughts, not replace them. So do less automation in the sense of just asking the AI model to do something for you and working with that blindly. Go towards more augmentation. And it's a very vivid difference. There's a big difference between going to an AI model and asking it to maybe write a business plan, or going to the AI model, asking it, I have this idea, how do I take it forward? And the AI model will give you maybe 5 ways you can actually take that idea forward. And then ask follow-up questions. Critique some of the methods that AI gave you. So change the way you engage with artificial intelligence. If you are that general user, it will open up doors, it will open up opportunities. And I'm convinced if you're a better user, you have better odds in so many areas and domains in work and in life. Now, the second area of advice is for professionals, for people in the workplace. And that's of 2 parts, the employee and the decision maker. The employee, again, similar to the general usage individual, use it better. You can't imagine how much ideation, critical thinking you can use your brain, your own brain for with the help of AI. It can open doors, it can open windows in your brain. Do scenario analysis. So ask it, for example, you want to make a decision. So say my options are 1, 2, 3. Give me a scenario, like 3 scenarios for each decision. How would that go as an impact to my organization? How would that affect my team? How would that affect my team's morale? Like, you can ask it so many things, so you can, in a much shorter time and less ambiguity, because it will help you simulate all of these ideas. You can look at all angles. It will improve your ability to solve problems in your corporate, in your workplace, and the quality of decisions that you make will be way higher. Again, I would always reinforce, you should use your brain, and then you should brainstorm with others. Like, that doesn't go away. AI will just make it honestly more fun sometimes, but definitely at a much higher quality. Now, if you are a decision maker, you need that paradigm shift in your workplace. You need that paradigm shift in your organization. You cannot keep thinking about artificial intelligence as, that thing that is hallucinating and probably is a security risk to the company and the information, which are all true things, and we should be careful when we handle artificial intelligence in that context. But also, you might be easily and quickly left behind if you don't adopt it quickly within your organization. So if you're a decision maker, try to put the proper guardrails of using AI within your organization, upskill or reskill your people to leverage artificial intelligence to the best of your interests as a business and for them as employees. Push for adoption. Don't shame people for using AI. And lastly, the last strategy or piece of advice based on these reports. If you are building something, if you are one of these people who are held up in that 4% bubble of usage, which is coding, building something, or you're just an entrepreneur who actually use AI, but not in the coding world, you can have people code it for you. Well, now you have two treasures, two documents of how people are using artificial intelligence by the top 2 AI research labs globally. You can go just there, see what people are looking for, and build something for people. This is it for this video. Probably the longest time you've spent looking at my face. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I am pretty sure I tried my best to help you save so much time compared to going through these reports. If you enjoyed the video and got value out of it, do not forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel. It's a big support if you hit that subscribe button. Share it with others who might benefit. And with this, thank you for watching and goodbye.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel. Give me the mic.